Hey, I'm so glad that I'm on. I finally got on and look, it was a lot easier. So mastery really does come in doing. I didn't know whether I was going to make it on today. Had a thousand things to do, but I have been trying to get on regularly for my empath and sensitive group because we're in spiritual times right now. So spiritual times means that anything that's not for our highest good is going to come out right now. We're going to feel really imbalanced in certain areas of our life, especially where we're pushing and trying to make something work when something doesn't work. A lot of times we're being called when we're in a state of spiritual equilibrium to tap into the higher self. The higher self is the God part of self. The God part of self is the part of self that's connected to the divinity. The divinity is of love, it's the universe, it's ubiquitous. It works through us and it works through the environment. It's called God, it's called Holy Spirit, it's called the universe, it's called the stars, it's called cosmic energy. So understand this cosmic energy is divine, and it's not just divine, but it's supernatural. So it's what we don't see. So I picked a topic today because no one knows when I go on, because I don't even know when I go on, because I am so not a structured person. Really need to get structured, but I just hate structure. I hate actually anything like structure or, systematical. I'm more of, again, an intuit. An intuitive person is someone that feels. I'm a soulful person because, again, the language of spirit is soulful. And it's, again, of the higher self. It's not logical. It is more, again, intuitive. It's something that's felt. And the language is synchronicity. So if you are watching this live stream on Facebook, you're going to have to click on the StreamYard icon and sign up for StreamYard if you want me to see who you are. Otherwise, if you want to ask me a question, you're going to have to ask me the question and write your name after it, because I'm not going to be able to identify. I just want to get into the habit, even though no one's really watching yet, because I am not consistent. Kind of holding myself back. There are a lot of challenges going on right now within my own life. And so I'm just kind of trying to see where I want to go. And so, again, I'm going to be doing live streams every day eventually. But as of right now, if you're new, and again, I'm going to catch this on Facebook. Like, I think I have this linked up to 2 groups. Today, the empath and sensitive group, and it could be the holistic and spiritual transitions page, or it could be the pure energy healer page. I'll probably switch on and off. And then also today I am linked up to the YouTube page, the psychic soul healer page. So again, if you're going to catch this and you want to ask me any questions, you're going to have to ask a question and leave your name after. And you're definitely going to have to click on the StreamYard icon if you want your name to show up. All right. So I'm just going to do a general message for whoever that lands on it. Again, how spirit works is that energy goes where attention is, right? So a lot of times unconsciously, we have our attention on stuff, right? Especially stuff that's bothering us. And I picked a topic today called spiritual equilibrium. And spiritual equilibrium is all about when we are fighting with our head and our gut, like our spirit. Our spirit, and again, a lot of times we associate our spirit with our heart. So it could be like when your heart and your head are fighting, and that when you're looking at a situation, no matter which way you look at it, you can see the valid points. Because again, every situation is made up of paradoxes, which are opposites. So everything's about perception. And when you have a spiritual block, which is a spiritual wound, which is, again, just one perception of your situation. So that could be, I will never make money. It could be a person that believes that money is difficult to obtain, that every time they go out for a job, the job doesn't work out, and they put so much emphasis on needing to make money. There's a lot of fear energy behind it. Or people can have that block in love and relationships too. They could believe that they're unlovable. Now, that no one goes around saying they're unlovable, and they know that they get love from family and people. But a lot of times, when it comes to their intimate, most intimate love type relationships, they find that it's just kind of easier to be alone, or it's easier to be detached, or it's just because they don't believe that they could be in a very happy, fulfilling, balanced, equal relationship. So understand that is true from one perception. And the reason why I say that is because no relationship is balanced all the time. Not everyone's giving 50-50 all the time in a relationship. Sometimes in the beginning of a relationship, you can find that you're giving 50% and the other person is not, you're giving 60%, the other person's giving 50%, and that's really good, by the way. Like a good percent, like again, balance. Most people in relationships find that they balance back to, like, sometimes they feel like they're giving only 25% and the other person's giving like 75%, and the other person sometimes feels like, they're giving like maybe 5% and the other person is giving 95%, depending on what's going on in your life. So again, relationships we can't look at from a 50-50 standpoint. We can look at it from like a perception of whether we feel fulfilled. So a lot of times my point in sharing about spiritual equilibrium is when we see our situation from a very imbalanced perception due to what we've lived, what our family has lived, what we know. That again is not the spiritual. The spiritual is of the higher self. The higher self is God part of self. God is all knowing, and we have that divinity inside of ourselves. So we actually are all knowing too. But due to situations that we've lived, we form behaviorisms and blocks that make us believe that it's not capable. And that energy is actually really held within our body. And that's where trauma is held. And so in order to release that physical body sensation, we actually have to do like somatic exercises. Again, that's tapping in more to the energy that you're feeling in your body, like the discomfort or the tightness or the tingling or whatever you're experiencing, because you've detached from the actual experience of what happened. You don't remember what happened. And if you're someone that feels that you have a lot of experiences where you're detached and you don't really remember what happened, then it's really important to do like soul journeying work or work with a shaman, because again, they find the detached parts of you. Oh my God, I'm so happy that I actually see like someone on. Hey, I'm out singing, so unfortunately I can't. But I am like, I'm so happy that I at least see you, Dougie. It means that it's working. It means that I finally have mastered the Facebook app. And it just took me almost a year to do it. And every single streaming company, because again, I have no attention span. And if it doesn't work right away, then I have no patience. And then I assume that it's the actual streaming company and not me. So I just got another streaming thing, because again, only to wind up back at the original streaming company that I originally worked with, successfully, that I do things when it comes to this kind of crap. All right. I'm trying to drink my water, people. All right. So I was saying, so when you have when you're in a state of spiritual equilibrium, you're in a state of balance. Balance meaning body, mind, and spirit. Excuse me. Why I'm even bringing this up is because the type of readings that I always start off with are spiritual. we look at what's going on within your situation. And this can be whoever that lands on it, because again, spiritual energy works like a magnet. It goes to who and what lands on this, who hears it, whether they click on it, whether they're accepting it, whether they're not accepting it. Understand is subconscious. So, or if you don't resonate with it, it could not be your message, but a lot of times it is. We just might not see how it is in that moment. All right. Let's pull the first card. And the first card is stuck. Someone feels stuck. Someone feels stuck in their situation. So again, only in the now do we get divine guidance. Only when we're grounded. We're always stuck when we're, like, again, thinking about our situation from every single perception. But that's not really who we are now. Those perceptions are from the past. So we're always stuck when we are, again, reminiscing of what happened in the past, how we should have acted, why we should have acted, instead of really, we can't go back in time. All we have is now. And life is about learning. And a lot of times we're just stuck. And we're stuck because we don't trust ourselves. We don't know ourselves. Everyone is a reflection of ourselves. So if you're stuck within your relationship, then you have to say, are you living your best life? Do you know who you are? Are you having a love affair within your own life? Because that's how it starts. It starts by finding your passion for life. Most people don't have an identity, and they're stuck in an uncomfortable or bad relationship, or they're stuck in a bad job, or they're stuck in somewhere in life that is really unfulfilling, and they feel trapped. They feel like a victim, because stuck energy is victim energy. And really, we're not victims. Again, we have the divinity inside of ourselves. We should never be stuck. If we're stuck, it's because we don't know who we are. And if we don't know who we are, then we have to find who we are first before we even deal with a relationship or job, because you'll never find your balance. This is why, from a Christian perception, they always say Jesus died for your passion for life. Because again, it's whatever you love, it's whatever you choose, it's your free will to do whatever. You won't be stuck, because then you're actually seeing the divinity work through you. Then you're actually seeing the divinity work through your environment and bring in the people, situations, and the experiences that are going to change you, that are going to grow you, that are going to make you do uncomfortable things, like me having to deal with this fucking StreamYard or whatever the app is. Because let me tell you, it took me a year, and it took me a year of, like, literally booking classes and then not showing up for them, not having the software work, and having to deal with a lot of anxiety. And again, why? Because anything even remotely that resonates with school or learning again brings me back to a time, which means that I get stuck in that perception, where other people get stuck in the perception of finances. They have a hard time with money, and it's because they go back to a time. We revert back to a time where we didn't see a solution, where we were panicked, where we really were the victim, where we really didn't feel safe. So this is why, again, anxiety happens. So you have to realize also, if you're stuck, you have to train your nervous system. You have to, again, breathe, because you'll never get to a state of spiritual equilibrium that way. It's your heart and your mind are gonna fight a lot. They're gonna fight a lot when it comes to things in alignment with your passion, because logically they don't make sense. The logical linear mind is like, nah, we don't need to have fun. No, we don't need to do that. We can actually work 100 hours a week and, never have fun. And really the spirit doesn't. It'll, like, you can do that, but how that will manifest is within addictive behavior, because the spirit has to have fun. It has to have passion. It has to live. It has to be having fun. It has to be like childlike, because again, the world is imbalanced. The kingdom of heaven's inside of you, if that kingdom is not imbalanced, because it brings you to the connection to your spirit, to source. Past life. So again, this talks about the past situations, past experiences of limitation. So a lot of times, past life, we had a connection with a soulmate, maybe a twin flame, and so maybe someone is stuck because of a past life connection. They feel really connected still to that person, and connection is the heart and of the mind. So it doesn't mean that the connection is even playing out in the physical realm. It could be of the mind, of the 3D. But understand that's manifestation energy, when there's a lot of emotion and thought energy, because that's what transcends time and space, works like a magnet to pull into you what, again, you're trying to manifest. So this talks about someone is stuck in, like, again, like this past life connection. And a lot of times the reason why, from a spiritual perspective, is because they need to learn lessons. So many twin flames need to learn certain lessons. So let's look at some of the lessons. Let's see what some of the lessons are before we pull more cards. Let's see, one fell out. A card down. Okay. Let's see what the, okay. This is, I've never felt love like this before. The depth of it can be inspiring, but also overwhelming. So again, this is definitely a soulmate twin flame connection that you're in, because it's a past life. And those are hard because it's, again, logically, they don't make sense. There's a lot of problems, and a lot of those problems are not real foreseen problems. They're problems of the ego. They're problems where usually one person doesn't want to relinquish control. But the soulmate twin flame relationship is all about the mirror effect, that spirit is bringing you a person that is going to hold up all your wounds, that is going to show you everything that's spiritually imbalanced. So it's not going to feel good a lot of times. It's going to feel hard. It's going to feel hard. It's going to be really uncomfortable, and it's going to be uncomfortable because it's like, it's drawing at your wounds. The person's triggering you. So on one hand, there's this deep connection, this deep love, unconditional love that you've never felt before. But on the other hand, it's like, it's very triggering, and it's also painful. And the spiritual wound that manifests, the behaviorism that manifests, is attached. So it's, again, this person, you could, again, be in a very codependent relationship with them actually right now. So you're stuck in a soulmate twin flame relationship where there really is a deep connection, again, to this person, where you really feel attached to them, but almost like it's codependent. Like you feel like you're one person, but this could also refer to that someone else is attached to someone else, where that connection, you could be in a connection with someone else that's attached to you, that maybe it's, again, it's not really loving connection, but it's some sort of commitment. And so this is why the person's stuck. So you could be attached to someone, or you yourself could be in a situation where you're attached to someone and you're stuck because you are attached to them in a codependent way, but you feel a depth of love for someone else that you've never felt before, and you know that they are a past life connection. So this is why you're stuck, because logically, it would be much easier to stay in the connection that you're in. is what I'm feeling. Again, and the reason why is because it's easier because you're influenced by a lot of people in your environment. So this could be someone that you've been with for a long time, again, that you're attached to them, but there may not be love. It could be codependent. And you're also influenced by people in your environment to keep the relationship together. I also believe that that person that you're attached to is influencing you. So you're not really truly thinking for yourself, or your person is not thinking for themselves because they're influencing. So they're relinquishing their power, they're relinquishing their control, which is usually the role of a martyr. It's usually the control of, like, relinquishes control, where it's seen as like the person's ego is actually thinking that they're doing something positive, but really they're just avoiding making a decision. So in them not making a decision, they've actually made a decision, is what I see here. Let's see what the hidden truths are. I can't stop thinking about you. So it's again, so they didn't make a decision. So, and they didn't make a decision, but they made a decision in not making a decision. And now that they made the decision to not make a decision, they're stuck in the fact that they can't stop thinking about you. Because they didn't listen to their higher self. They didn't listen. I feel like they didn't listen to their higher self, the God part of self, their intuition. They went with logic. So I'm feeling intuitively that someone decided to stay in a connection for money. That's what I feel. Because they can't stop thinking about the person that they didn't choose, because that they were influenced by someone else, but they knew the whole time. I want you. So there's a lot of, again, passion, and there, which is, again, with soulmate twin flame connections, there is a lot of passion. But again, that passion could be very toxic if the person, again, if both people are not on the same page. And clearly, these two people are not on the same page because one person chose to stay in a bad situation. Hello, Jasmine. So I'm going to leave it right there because that's, again, that's a karmic situation. Jasmine, you can ask me any question you want to ask me. I was talking about spiritual equilibrium. Hi, Paul. I was saying if anyone has any questions that they want to ask me. But right now, I was just finishing up this one reading. I was talking about spiritual equilibrium. And spiritual equilibrium is when we can find balance in our heart and in our mind. So a lot of times, like soulmate twin flame relationships, we cannot find balance because the person triggers us, the person does things, they're out of balance. And so this storyline is that somebody is stuck. Again, and I don't know who this message was for, and they're stuck because they are connected to someone else attached, but again, where they don't really feel like they have room to breathe. It's like a codependent relationship, but they're connected to someone, again, that they know is their soulmate twin flame from a past life. But they were influenced by outside people and things, again, to stay in this connection. But they, again, know that they've never felt love like this before, again, because soulmate twin flame relationship is all about divine union. It's about transmuting those lower energies of ourself. And we can only do that with unconditional love, by learning unconditional love. So you're usually getting someone that's complete opposite of you. They don't think the way that you do. They don't handle things the way that you do. They're also going to trigger you. A lot of times they have behaviorisms that might remind you of an abusive parent, or, again, a narcissistic partner, or someone, again, that traumatized you on some point. So this person, again, was run by their ego, didn't listen to their higher self, knew that they should have went with the soulmate twin flame relationship, but they didn't. They logically went with what made sense. And I felt like intuitively that because of finances. But now that they made this decision, they're stuck where they can't stop thinking about the person and that they want them. So this is this. And what I was going to say is soulmate twin flame relationships are really difficult because there is a lot of passion. It does feel like a magnet that draws people to each other, two people that really love each other to each other. Problem is that if this person hasn't been here for you and they've been somewhere else the entire time, it's like, and they're only coming in with passion. They're like, they're identifying you. They would put you in that corner, in that, because again, they're not attracted to that person that they're with anymore. Remember, there's a connection that is more codependent, again, where they feel like they can't breathe, but they kind of feel like they need to take care of this person. But they, again, have never felt this love before, but they're stuck in because they're influenced. So people that, again, live by their ego are usually very influenced. And when they are, they're coming from a lower energy, which is all about, again, sex and like that connection. So they're looking for this emotional attention, but it's, again, might be here for a good time, not a long time. So it's, again, you have to be careful with this energy. So that's for whoever. Now, again, if anyone has any messages, I'm going to scroll down because I don't see any messages here. Can't post comments to some destinations. Okay. Oh. It sounds like, so Jasmine, thank you for putting your name. I'm actually seeing everybody's name and I'm so happy. So this sounds like your situation, married but separate, known each other since 5th grade. Oh, he thought that the grass was greener, but he's finding out it wasn't. Goodbye, whoever you are. Like, I'm deleting your comment and blocking you. It's like these people that are on my thing. It's like, when people sign up for my group, they're not allowed to do that. So if anyone sees that, again, someone reaching out to you, telling you that they can remove curse work and all this. First of all, they can't. That's saying that they're God. They're not God. Again, God doesn't need to go to anyone's inbox and say, hey, you want a psychic reading? No, he doesn't do that. You know what he does? He calls on your own intuition to tell you, your own higher self, because we all have the divinity part of self, which is the God part of self. So it's not that, whatever that is. I mean, we can do rituals, but we can do our own rituals. We don't need you to do our ritual for us to, again, cement an intention. We don't actually need you in the equation at all. To be honest with you, no one needs it because, again, we all have a God inside. So with that, it's very common that when people are in these relationships since the 5th grade, or again, long periods of time, that, that you be curious, I mean, you have to see it like this. The second chakra is all about your individuality, Jasmine. Is that when you grow up, is that you learn what you like, what you don't like. And I'm kind of feeling like you grew up where you didn't really have that support. You didn't have that nurturing. So he kind of always, you guys gravitated toward each other and gave each other that. And so what winds up happening is like the relationship kind of becomes codependent, where the person's like almost like your best friend and you're everything and you do everything with that person. But then what happens is that excuse me, we're all meant to grow. We're all meant to change. We're all meant to evolve and to evolve into higher states of consciousness. And that's through learning. And that's not through going through Alpha B's, whatever this guy's name is that reached out to you to get a psychic reading. It's to, again, to learn, to live, to see a different perception. So what happens is that if every day you're with a person and there's this like intense love and everything, but then you're eating, like, let's just say it's like eating your favorite ice cream all day long. It's like you would get bored, even though it's your favorite ice cream, and you would miss that ice cream and eventually go back to having that ice cream. But if you had your favorite ice cream morning, noon, and night every single day for the rest of your life, you can get tired of that ice cream. So it doesn't mean that you need to have a lot of different ice cream. What it means is that you eat a lot of different foods. You're invested in your life. You're doing a lot of different things. Excuse me. And you're interactive with a lot of different people. And when you're interactive in your life and interactive with a lot of different people, then you're not going to, that you would never get bored of your favorite person then, because at the end of the night or at the end of the day, you got to share or see or talk to that person. But that person wasn't like around you 24/7 and again, like preventing you from finding yourself, preventing you from exploring what you wanted to explore for yourself. Over time, people do that. Yes, the split was mutual. I truly believe it was meant to happen this way because I think now we're strong. Right. And that's the thing, Jasmine. Absolutely. Because what happens is that you learn what unconditional love is. When you're with a person every single day and they're like your soulmate, your twin flame, they're not going to think the same way that you think. They're not going to do what you do. They're not going to react the way that you react. They may have certain beliefs that are the same as yours, but not. And my point in sharing that is, again, when I was talking about our topic, spiritual equilibrium, it's again when the heart and the mind don't make sense. So at one point, I'm sure he said, you know what, we got together so young, and I want to see what else is out there. And he went out and he saw what else is out there, and he was like, had something now to compare to. Then it was also like, I don't like what Jasmine had to say. I'm kind of annoyed. She hurt my ego. I'm pissed off. I'm not going to talk to her. I'm really pissed off. I can replace her. It's like, and then he realizes a few weeks, a few months later, he begins to miss you and that you're not replaceable. So when a person has to come to this belief that, you know what, I really can't live without you. They have to actually see that for themselves. So you would be stronger because, again, unconditional love never dies. It never breaks. It changes, it transforms, and it transforms due to our perception. And again, if you went and you lived your life and you dated a few people and the whole time you were like thinking about this person, then you would know, well, obviously I'm meant to be with that person. Even if I have to surrender my ego, even if I have to be uncomfortable, maybe I have to learn how to compromise. And that's the whole point in divine relationships. It teaches us balance, which is, again, how we get spiritual equilibrium. It's not my way or your way. It means, again, it's both of our way is actually right, depending on our perception or how we look at things. Again, our reality is our reality due to what we perceive, due to what we live. Problem is, you can be in a relationship with someone that has a completely different reality than you do. So being able to talk about it and being able to find yourself, like it didn't just it gave you time to focus on working on you, right, and evolve, which a lot of times you probably wouldn't have done. Because as highly sensitive people, as empaths, again, if you're coming from that group, I'm not sure, but if you're coming from that particular group, then you know that you automatically tend to give. You tend to let other people influence your decisions based on emotionally how you feel. So a lot of times you would have to, the person, you need to separate from that person to again figure out what it is. And right, and I think a lot of times it's a way that we can transcend those wounds, like shame. You said to that without shame. Well, a lot of times, you know, if we're in a relationship with someone where we don't allow them their process, they definitely get triggered to feel shame. So yeah, definitely believe that that's, a lot of times with soulmate twin flame relationships, you don't stay together the whole time. Not first of all, it's a hard type of relationship. It's hard because it forces you to be a better person. It forces you to evolve. And that's wherever you're weak in. So you can be like someone that is very smart but very weak emotionally, and that would mean you're not very emotionally intelligent. And it's the way that you respond. So you're getting a person that might, again, force you to become more emotionally intelligent with how you're going to deal with them because, again, you love them. So you wouldn't want to like lose them, but on the same token, you don't resonate with how they deal. So it's a learning process, one that forces us to speak our truth, to find balance by, again, releasing guilt, releasing shame, releasing all that, and learning how to communicate, learning how to compromise. And that's hard. And a lot of times with all the trials and tribulations that go along with soulmate twin flame relationships, it's almost like it's so difficult to even make the relationship work because of it. So if you get to a point where you actually did all that, where you both get to a place where you're like, well, look at that, we both did the work, we separated, and I'm still feeling like connected to you. Well, then on some level that it's a divine relationship, and the relationship probably calls for to do something together for a higher purpose. There's usually a reason why, because we can't transmute those wounds ourselves. And sometimes we just have wounds that are so harsh that we became too yin or too yang. So again, these paradox relationships teach us balance because again, we have to release our ego because unconditional love makes us do that. We get to a place where we eventually don't care. We release our ego and it makes us look at our situation through compassion, through unconditional love, and that makes us act different, which makes your person be different. And healing is about seeing a different outcome. So, yes, but I don't believe that the relationship's 100% out of the woods. I just think that it's, again, when you get over these hurdles, happens, you become closer and closer and closer, that even though the trials and the tribulations might seem like, oh my God, like now we're going through this, I can't believe it, like they're so hard, you really can't walk away from that person. You might try to walk away from that person. You might try to replace that person. But what happens is it's like a magnet that will draw you back because you're not moving it. The divine is moving it because we're here to learn, to evolve. So just wanted to put that out there. All right. Does anyone have any other questions? Otherwise, I'm going to go back and I'm going to channel another message for, again, whoever lands on this. And if you guys are from YouTube, give me a shout out. And if you're from YouTube, all you need to do is give this video a like, comment the word healer in the description box, and subscribe to my channel. Again, and if you're on Facebook, subscribe to my YouTube channel, The Psychic Soul Healer. Hey, Facebook user, I wish I saw your, know who you are. Just tell me who you are so I can say hi. I'm going, and if you have a question, please feel free to ask. Otherwise, I'm going to be channeling. I'm glad that you're enjoying the live stream, the messages from spirit. Again, I wanted to do a live stream on spiritual equilibrium because so many times we get so out of balance with the things that go on in our life, right? I mean, we fight with our heart and our head. Like a lot of times something can make real sense on one hand and we really want to do it. But then on another hand, we again are like repelling it away. So the readings are all around that. And Jasmine had shared that she was in a relationship kind of like that. And she saw a lot of flux in her relationship. She saw a lot of change in her relationship. And so that, again, is all about the soulmate twin flame relationship. If you have a question, you can feel free to ask. Your birthday is 11/28. Well, happy student birthday, Jasmine. Any messages I can expect? Any messages that you can expect? Let's see. See, from a spiritual perspective, from a logical perspective. Let's see what I'm intuitively called. Okay, inferiority. So it could be, again, with this new year, I'm feeling like with all the healing work that you've done, it's about walking in your truth, knowing is, and because you want your relationship to be strong, right? And there's still a fear that, it's still going to be hard. Soulmate twin flame relationships are hard. And so it's a way that you again need to walk in your truth. Well, I feel like you're going to be called to stand more in your truth when it comes to like dealing with really what you want in your relationship and really what you want in your life. And people are going to challenge that. And it's going to make you feel, again, inferior. Hey, Watson. I just wanted to say hi before I, get to you. I want to notice that you are on. So I'm feeling like it's going to be a year of change, a lot of change. That even though you've gone through certain changes, I feel like in still coming into yourself. So I feel like possibly a new job and changes within, like you said, your relationship, but the relationship is still going through fluxes is what I'm feeling. So you still get triggered. And this is why I pulled inferiority. But it's a time that in standing in your truth, because part of you is like, how can I get around it? Because remember, I do healing style readings. So Spirit's going to tell us what's imbalanced, what's the problem, because it's not like you can't have everything that you want. It's the fact that there's fear there's anxiety, and there's anxiety because you don't know what to expect. But what I'm telling you is that there's going to be a change in job, that there's a sense of that I feel like you've outgrown it, you're not really into it. And so you have to stand more in your truth of what it is that you want to go to, again, to create for yourself within your job, but also in that you again will transcend your inferiority with dealing with your boyfriend. Because I feel like your relationship is still fluctuating, meaning sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not, sometimes it's good, and sometimes there's growing pains. But I feel like if you can make it through this year, that you guys will inevitably be together. Be together in a, like, maybe engagement. So it's, again, don't be aggressive, but set appropriate boundaries for it. So that's really what I'm feeling. So as far as should you expect anything, I feel like expect your relationship to fluctuate, expect a change in job, expect that you're still changing. So you're still going to be triggered. The spiritual lesson here is spirit saying it's like this is what you need to transcend this year, inferiority. Because in order to pull in love and the highest vibration, and you're pulled someone to you that does love you, does adore you, does see you as all is, but they do because they see you see, just got a promotion yesterday. And that's what I'm saying. So it's again a little intimidating. And when you're a highly sensitive person, this is what happens. It's like, oh, well, I have to pay attention to my job and I have this. And then he also needs, and what spirit is saying, no, 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 no. Because then you're gonna feel like you're gonna like you become too like trying to control, try more nervous. It's about being balanced. I feel like having better lifestyle habits to deal with your stress. And again, this is as long as you are walking in your truth, looking strong, this person's not going to go anywhere. The moment that you get weak is when, like, it's almost like that person, again, doesn't know. Yeah, right. You become aggressive. So that's because you need better lifestyle habits. Because what is really aggressive? Aggressive is anxiety. It's like I get like I'm getting aggressive with myself. I'm getting irritated with myself. Why aren't I getting it? Why am I this? Why am I? And so that's gonna affect your relationship, and that's a sign that you feel like again inferior, like you're not really strong within yourself. Now, no one's strong within themselves when they start something new. So you kind of have to train your body and your mind to work together. And that's by training your nervous system because you got to go through the fear. And remember, like I said, by the end of this year, I felt like you're not going to be the same person that you were. Your relationship's going to flux because you're no longer that codependent person. You're no longer, it's one thing that you guys live separate. And there was separation. Now in getting reacquainted, that's going to be a change also because you don't know how that's going to trigger your person. So the challenge would be this job, this brand new promoted job that's more money and it's more you know there's more demands for you, but then also this relationship that you are passionate about, that you are, and finding the balance within it. Because again, I'm a healer, so spirit's going to say, hey, these are the things that you need to look out for. And again, what you need to do to balance out your life. Because it's not like you want to change your job, you're happy with the opportunity. And it's not like you want this relationship to end, but spiritual equilibrium. Thank you for the confirmation, Jasmine. Spiritual equilibrium is like, oh, I want to find the balance between like, not to like, I want to be happy all across the board. And I don't know whether that can happen. And God's saying, of course it can happen. It's like if you, again, focus on yourself first, focus on your lifestyle habits to train your nervous system to, again, stay focused, have a routine, have a balance, stay strong, walk your truth. That's what makes you sexy to that person. That's what you want. You're like, I want that person to see me that way. I know that you remain the same person who you were. A lot of people, when they get into relationships, they all of a sudden become someone else. So if they were really like a go-getter in their job, all of a sudden they're like not a go-getter in their job, then, or if they were really thin and fit and then all of a sudden they blow up to like 500 pounds, it's like you're becoming someone else. So you don't want to become anyone else. That's the challenge when we feel inferior, because on one way we've shown this part of ourselves, and being aggressive to ourselves means that we're a little bit of a perfectionist. We're a little bit of wanting things to happen without really finding our process. So, which is again a highly sensitive trait where we're expected to be perfect. We want to be perfect. So it's not about being perfect. It's about allowing yourself to find your process. And if that means less time for your person, then that's what it means, is less time for your person. And that's the thing, because that's how you train your person too. Newman. So, Watson, Margaret Watson, or is it what? That's what I'm assuming. Do you have any questions for me? I hope that was helpful, Jasmine. I'm glad that you resonated with that message. Newman, do you have a question? Oh, okay. I'm out of balance. Electronics keep playing up. Well, I think again, when we're highly sensitive, that means that our nervous system gives off a lot of electricity. So if we're like emotional, right? Again, we have a lot of energy and it's emotional. It does affect electronics. You will shock a person. It's almost like if you ever saw that movie, Carrie, and well, my friend broke her mixer, and she's an empath, and she was so nervous. She was dealing with something with her son. Her son's autistic, and she was so nervous it broke. And we underestimate. You have to realize it's like if you're someone that was forced to suppress your emotions younger, like there's a lot of emotional energy right there. So yes, your cooker broke, and phone always happens when I'm planning to move. Yeah, like I think that it's again anything emotional will do that to us. Like, and this because we give off a lot of energy. That's why they say thank you for the confirmation. But they'll say retrograde is so bad. Why is retrograde bad? Well, because again, retrograde, there's always miscommunications, there's always like outlets but really the miscommunications are a sign that there's an imbalance, right? So when we have an imbalance inside of us, what happens is we get really nervous. So fear will manifest as anxiety, and that anxiety gives off a lot of energy. So things will like get all tripped up. They get tripped up within, they get tripped up within our computer, within your phone, and that's like I said, it's a sign that internally we need healing. And that's a lot of times a sign of a healer, right? Healers, a lot of healers, we need to heal ourselves. It's just what it is, because we make the best healers, but it's not uncommon. And it's like reminds me of that movie Carrie, right? When she is like at prom night and like they spill paint on her and she gets so emotional and she looks at everybody and again, she's able to make like things fly across the room, people fly across the room because of her emotional energy. And that's a sign that, right, when we're manifesting, how do you manifest? You manifest with that same energy. So you're like, oh my God, it tripped me up. It's like I broke this, I broke that. It's like I shorted out the computer, or the phone keeps disconnecting. Every time I get like really emotional, I'm on the phone with my friend, it always disconnects. And it's so annoying because you're in the middle of having a nervous breakdown or an emotional outburst, and the freaking thing hangs up on you because you're having such emotional, you get even more emotional. So it's just the way. Hey, can you say who you are? Because I don't see who you are. For the people, by the way, that pop on here that I'm not seeing your name, you can actually go to the StreamYard icon and click on it, and there's a way that you can have it so it introduces you to me, like your person. Anyway. So that energy, Watson, is all Watson, I'm going to call you instead of Margaret, is all about, channeled energy. It's how you channel it out. Hey, Tanya, how's it going? Do you have any questions for me? I was talking about spiritual equilibrium earlier, and that's when our heart and our mind a lot of times are imbalanced because, again, we can tend to look at things from different perceptions and be both. Thank you, Margaret. So channel with that energy. That's the long and short of it. Hey, Nicole, Susan Nicole. Do you have any questions for me? How was your trip to Italy? That looks fantastic. Probably got so much inspiration from being over there. Hey, Helen. Strange you would speak about well, again, that is what Margaret was saying. She was saying, oh, it's right now, I'm shorting out everything right now, like everything that she touches is breaking. And I said, that's not uncommon. Again, when you're an empath, there's a lot of electricity that goes through our body. And again, that when I was saying that when you get really emotional, how the phone disconnects or how you can shock people. And I was saying, and that we really tend to see that a lot in retrograde when the planets are going, backwards. And there's a whole spiritual psychic energy that happens that you don't see during retrograde, but you can definitely feel it. And so, our spiritual energy works like that during retrograde. If you have a block inside you, then, right, and then your anxiety is going to, build up, and then and how does it build up? You wouldn't know that it built up maybe mentally, but you would definitely know by emotionally how you felt, and people would definitely be able to feel it. And so what happens is you just, again, it shorts out the electricity because how electricity flows. You're intervening with it. So it's funny how that energy, we see that a lot during retrograde, but I tend to believe that retrograde is a time that it's a time that calls for us to look and see what is so out of balance. Like we're continually having communication problems with someone, or we have a lot of anxiety over something over and over and over again, that it's time that we can heal. That's all that is. Does anyone have a question for me? Or just walk past on the phone, it messes up the other person's phone or knocks off or steals their computer. Yeah, it's funny how like that energy can happen. It does. It's like we're energy beings and we're psychic beings. We don't see it. My muck cracked up. She always says, why do you break things? Yeah, like a lot of times people don't, if they've never seen it before, they've never heard it, it seems like, oh, it's just sci-fi or you're just imagining it. No, it's a real thing. And it's because, again, our nervous system is our it's really our electricity, can't pronounce it, electrotory system. I can't pronounce it, but you get what it is. And its job is to run through us. That's why when you put on like an EKG, it monitors that. It monitors the flow of your energy, the energy to your heart. Your heart is another organ that sends out electromagnetic wavelengths. So it's, again, if someone's heavy, their energy is heavy, we can feel it. So it is a funny thing, but it's also a sad thing. So does anyone have any questions about anything? Yes, no, yes, no. I figured I was going to do maybe one more message. So if anyone has any questions for me, now is the time. I haven't really been on as often as I should have, but I was saying I finally got this streaming to work. So I'm going to be on definitely more regularly. So if anyone has a question, anyone wants to know anything, otherwise I'm going to do one more message. And it's going to be, again, for whoever that lands on it, since someone's asking me anything. It's whoever that resonates with it. Oh, good. Yes, Helen. Let's see. What kind of questions should we ask? Let's see. Let's see what we pull out. Okay, the genius. So the genius is the higher part of self, and the higher part of self is God part of self. But it's the creative part of yourself. This could be talking about trying to find more passion in your life, trying to see again what like trying to fulfill yourself in that area, because again the genius is all about creating, but creating through manifesting through your visions. And so there's a sense of maybe not having a passion is what I'm feeling, or not feeding it enough. And so if you do have one, but that you're being called to access this part of yourself now, because maybe again I feel like you're getting older, people have moved, they've died, you've outgrown people, there's a sense of stagnation, but you still have to work and you still really can't change your life all that much. So you're like, well, how would I be able to change? And really, Spirit says, well, the genius part of ourself is God part of self, which allows us to go with the flow of life, but also allows us to have a spiritual walk with the divine. And that's through, again, what we imagine, what we, again, are inspired and called to feed our time, again, to put our time into, because a lot of times you might not get other ideas from being interactive in joining things that you actually picked, but when you were on your way to what you picked, and that might be, let's just say I decided to sign up for a spiritual class, and I went to the spiritual class, but it wasn't the class, it was actually on the way home. I intuitively was called to take this course, and I saw the advertisement, or it's again, you're seeing the signs and the synchronicities from spirit work through your environment, because I'm kind of feeling like you're stuck, but not in a place of, oh, I hate everything about my life, but it's like I could use more fun, I could use more passion, I could use more, but I don't really know how to change my life. And I don't really know what I would want to do later on in life either. And there's a sense of, I'm also nervous about everything that I see within life and things that I have absolutely no control over and I couldn't possibly control. So how would I get out of that? And Spirit is the same. Through me, through the genius part of yourself. The genius part of yourself is, again, the creative part of yourself. And that's more the intuitive mind. And that's through, again, yes, the creative mind, because you're inspired. So that's what it is. So I'm glad that you relate to that message, Helen. That's really what your message is. It's like a spirit saying, you have to bypass your logical mind. Your logical mind is going to be like, I really don't want to, take class. Oh, I'm tired. I already work. I have, and spirit saying, then you're never going to be led to take anything else or to open up your third eye to see anything else. Because you have to be grounded in your body, and you need to be led by your gut, and you need to be giving and receiving of love, meaning somewhat passionate, in order to create something, in order to see something. Otherwise, you're going to just stay stuck in what? And even though life is okay right now, who you are today is not who you are later on in life, and you know that, and you also know that life doesn't stay the same. All right, so you're welcome. Does anyone else have a question? I see. What is that, Margaret? I don't know what that says. It says reading. I'm glad that you resonated with that, because like I said, not all the time is there a problem in life. Just sometimes it's like, I could see how I would outgrow it. I could see how that might be. Caved reading? I don't understand what you mean. Calf reading? You want a reading? Is that what you're asking? Like, I don't know what that first word is. See? Was that yes? See? See? Okay, someone cruel. This card just popped out. Cruel. This could be, again, someone in your environment was cruel to you. Again, where I'm feeling like you are very sensitive. You're a highly sensitive person. But you're highly sensitive because, again, there was someone in your environment that wasn't very nice to you. And that's overstimulating to you, by the way. Thank you for the confirmation. That's really what it comes down to. Like here, it's like you are so sensitive, right? And there's a lot of gifts that come with that. But your sensitivity came because somebody was not nice to you. And obscurity, and they also didn't give a lot. I feel like they breadcrumbed you. It's again made you act like whatever you were asking for was a lot. Like it's probably a narcissistic relationship, and I kind of feel like you also grew up with somebody when you were younger that was around you with that. So you had a trauma in childhood, and then it played out again in a relationship. And so then there's also like always that fear that energy is going to come in, which is very common. I also had that trauma at one point where it's like we feel like it. And then like in this, we get so much anxiety. This is why you would short things out. This is why things would break. And a lot of times also why you might even get in your own way. Meaning like you'll be into like almost manifesting something, having it right there in your palm of your hands, and then having it slip right through your palm of your hands because you again sabotaged yourself. That a lot of times comes from this energy. Again, that's how the trauma plays out. And it's because there's a fear of this, of obscurity, of again someone being mean. So that you would, again, really need to do some grounding work. And I kind of feel like it would bring you to your soul's path, Margaret. Like to be a healer is not to just be like, again, a jack of all trades healer. It's to heal yourself of what it is that you need to heal, because you would be a good teacher and you would be able to really empathize with people that you connected with, that people that were in those type of relationships. Because again, number one, you're an empath, you're a highly sensitive person, so you can feel what they need. Two, you identify with it. So intuitively, because you went through it, you would be able to just see what somebody else had or hear what they're saying and intuitively be called to how to help them. But you need to walk the walk yourself. That's the only way to transcend this energy. That's what Spirit is saying. You want to transcend this energy? This is a trauma. Someone was mean and they didn't treat you well. That is, again, was truth. It's not that it wasn't truth. You have to transcend that experience. I hope you resonated with that. You can let me know. Tracy, let's see. What message does Tracy have? And guys, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. No, I don't want people to think that no one likes it. What are you doing? Like, everyone's asking me questions. I'm answering questions, and I only see like 2 people have liked the video. So what's going on here? Show me some love. Thank you. I'm so glad. Thank you. Margaret, give this video a like if you haven't. Thank you. I'm so glad that you were. And again, walk your path. Like, you have gifts. I really feel that way. And it would make you feel purposeful and make you see yourself differently, and then attract different people to you. So you wouldn't be able to attract someone that was mean. Again, more like-minded is what you attract, which is what you need. All right, let's see. Greedy. Okay, Tracy, I think I said that I was going to pull card. Does that mean that you're greedy? Or are you dealing with people that are greedy? Or are you being made to feel as if you're greedy? So sometimes, again, people can make us feel greedy when we're just trying to like take care of ourselves. Then that's one way that someone is made to feel like they're a narcissist. Okay, narrow-minded. Yeah, so again, I kind of feel like someone that has been in your environment that is very narrow-minded, try to put their views onto you. Want to see what's that got to do with anything? That's again, compassion. And maybe again, you're meant to feel like compassion. So a lot of times this could be, I'm feeling like maybe you grew up in a family that they were told to be like really modest and to live like a certain way. And again, had very narrow-minded views, but there is like this connection, this emotional connection. But again, you don't really view life the way that they viewed life as. You don't really have the same beliefs that they believe. So I'm feeling like, how does that have to do with anything? Let's see. A lot of times this will, again, play out. So I just feel like there's some confusion about your future, because diplomacy is all about concern about your future. So maybe again, there's a sense of wanting more for your future. Oh, so good. So, haha, right. Thank you for the confirmation. So there's a sense of, again, feeling greedy, but like you want certain things for your life. So I kind of feel like that when you're a highly sensitive person, and if you're like talking to me through my group, obviously that you're probably a highly sensitive person, that you're going to automatically look to people that you care about and people that have been in your life for acceptance. And the key is to separate acceptance of what you want from because remember, from what they want. The reason why is because your family didn't live in the same type of environment. They didn't have the same resources. They didn't have. So they were also conditioned and trained to live from a certain perception, and which was, again, very narrow-minded. So you really, like I said, we want to be able to make sure that you're compassionate. So it's not about getting your acceptance so much from them at first. It's about creating yourself and doing what you want to do. Again, that's going to make you feel emotionally, financially, and every other way comfortable. And then you get the support from outside people. Because a lot of times what I noticed, Tracy, and this goes from my profession too, it'll never be my sister that's watching this. It'll never be someone that I know that's clapping for me, okay? That's never. It's always a stranger. It's always the it's always the Tracy Hale that I don't know, or the Margaret Watson that I didn't meet yet, or whatever. Those are the people again, because they don't have a perception. They're open-minded. And you want to be around that when you're creating, because again, it's only your life. And understand, when you're doing that, you become so strong that it's those other people that are like, Tracy, that's fabulous what you're doing. Oh my God, I can't see. They're the ones that are influencing the family. Those are the ones that are influencing the people that you're like, you really should have been clapping hardest for me. You should have been really here. And then when they're not here, that hurts us. So what it is it's understand they are only able to see things through their level of consciousness, through what they've lived, through what they've experienced, which is narrow-minded. So they're trying to put their narrow views onto you, and then being like, well, you're wrong. And then you're and you're like, how am I supposed to be compassionate in this? And it's like you can be compassionate if you're getting your emotional needs taken care of from outside people, and realize when they are reaping the benefits of, again, the life that you create, that then they're not going to say that you're greedy. So it's, again, they'll be enjoying it. So everything's perception, and it's due to where they are. And so they're not able to transcend that. It's the lineargy that breaks the family karma, and part of family karma is, again, breaking narrow-mindedness. So I'm glad that that resonated with you. Okay, because of you and the work that I have put in, I'm able to face such a hard week. I'm so thankful for that. It makes what I do very rewarding. Like I said, that's what it's about. It's giving what you never had. That's what God does. So he makes us, he puts us in different situations to allow us to see ourselves differently. So a lot of times, again, like what I was telling Tracy, in order for her to transcend her situation, she would actually have to see herself differently and see it differently, and her family would have to see it differently. And unfortunately, we have to leave the nest. We have to go into a different environment in order for that to happen. And because people will say, no, 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 I don't want to see you differently. I want to see you the way I feel comfortable seeing you. I need you for this purpose. I want you for that purpose. But in the end, we're not here for anyone else. We're here for ourselves. Really, the most important relationship that we have is the connection to source, the connection to the divine, because we're learning that we're not separate from the divine through seeing our life through different perceptions, through, again, living certain experiences. And if we're stagnated by the people that are in our environment, then it's because they're not really looking out for our best interest. There's something there that once you change is going to affect them. And that's most likely stagnating their growth. And they're terrified to have to figure those things out for themselves. But and if you would to stay and, and coddle that experience, what would happen is it wouldn't work out. It wouldn't work out because you would be essentially abandoning yourself, and karmically, spirit doesn't allow that. It says eventually you're the person that pays the karma if you give up your desire, your wants, your desire, because someone else thinks that you're being selfish. And we all get put in that spiritual test. We all get put in that spiritual test, and the spiritual test is self-love. Do you have the self-love to know that you're worthy of the life that any life that you have, in spite of whatever you've gone through or done or perceive yourself? And that's why I'm saying that's why this would be considered a really big spiritual test. So I hope that was helpful, but I've been on for a long time, and I am going to sign off But if any of you guys have not signed up for my YouTube channel, please do so. That's why I do these live streams, to get you guys to go over to my my Instagram page, listen to me, to my YouTube channel, because there I'm going to have a lot more streams and have giveaways, and I'm trying to build up a healing community there. Alrighty, I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.